YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A-N-LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes, it's just my personal opinion. You shouldn't take it as fact. You shouldn't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. All right. If you're new to the channel, fam, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe and tap the notification bell. I think you are going to enjoy the content. And if you don't, fam, look, no harm, no foul. You can always unsubscribe later. All right. And to my existing subscribers, fam. You are my family, and I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. All right, look, fam, let's get it going. So this is a video about the Springfield Prodigy. A lot of people have been hitting me up, asking me about it, asking me do I have one, asking me have I shot one, and I pretty much have stayed silent because I didn't own one and I hadn't shot one. And so I felt, you know, I really had a limited amount of perspective that I could really bring to the channel. So I just, you know, let sleeping dogs lie. Now, I'm doing this video because I got the opportunity to shoot one a few days ago. Up front, I want to be as unbiased as I possibly can. In full disclosure, I enjoyed shooting the gun. I don't have any bias against Springfield Armory. As you guys know, if you see my videos, I've got that Springfield TRP Operator 1911. I think Springfield makes one of the best 1911s out there on the market. So I'm not hugely surprised that they tried to step up and do a double stack magazine 9mm 2011 style pistol. I don't think that's unreasonable or out of kind of their grasp. And if people left it at that, I would be fine. But the question I get over and over and over and over and over again is, how does the Springfield Armory compare to the Staccato? And I've said this in a couple of different platforms and venues. I don't think it's a fair comparison. So I was saying a minute ago, two things happened that really made me want to do this video. The first was I actually got the opportunity to shoot the firearm. And the second was I saw a video that I thought profoundly kind of covered the ins and outs of the Springfield Armory Prodigy. I think there's a few different types of gun tube channels out there. If I was trying to classify gun tube channels, I think there are channels that really focus on showing you the shooting, the running, gunning, shooting part of it, right? Then you've got people who kind of sit down and in a format like this and talk to you more about guns and do gun reviews and gear reviews. And there's less maybe running and gunning. Maybe there's some of that on their channel. I would characterize this as that kind of channel. And then the third type of channel I would say is where people like nerd out on how the guns run, you know, who get real in depth into the internals. And if you are a person who really gets off on the engineering, how guns are engineered and that kind of thing, then you probably gravitate to those kinds of channels. And so came across a channel where the host did a very detailed breakdown about the Prodigy and then compared it to and this was a 5-inch, so he compared it to kind of the closest competitor that people talk about, and of course I'm talking about the Staccato P. You know, first of all, let me, you know. Okay. All right. So all that said, I think that number one needs to be established. I'm no Springfield hater. Like Springfield, Roots. Love my TRP. Happy that they came out with a more affordable kind of double stack 2011 type firearm at a more affordable price point, right? So, and I enjoyed shooting the gun. But when you compare it to, when people ask me, and then people make the argument, oh, it's every bit as good as staccato. Okay, now I gotta tell you to pump your brakes a little bit. So let me tell you what my takeaway was from shooting the gun. It was a very enjoyable experience. For the price, I thought that it was solid. I thought it was solid. I thought it had an okay trigger. It performed reliably. I know there's been a lot, especially on the 5-inch one. I know a lot of people have issues. I ran some personal defense ammo through it and some regular brass through it. It ate the rounds all fine with no issues, so that was good. The ejection pattern I thought was a little erratic, but I mean, whatever. Whatever. It seemed very accurate. I thought the gun shot well. Reminiscent kind of the way my TRP shoots. And I love the way it shoots. So I thought it was very much along those lines. The problem is everything is relative. When I tell you that a gun is good relative to what, right? If I were comparing the Springfield Prodigy to the X5 Legion, if I was comparing it to what's another good one besides the Legion that people talk about quite a bit, the HK VP9 or the Walther PPQ5 Match, the CZ Shadow 2. I would say it's in that realm. It's in that ballpark. It's similar. I wouldn't say it's better than all of those guns, but maybe it's better than some, not better than others, but all in the same kind of wheelhouse, right? I think these are comparable firearms, and I think that's where the discussion should, in terms of comparison, should be. I think when you start talking, though, this versus a staccato, I think slow down. Now, I can tell you that the staccato's fit and finish is better. The staccato trigger feels better. I can tell you all of that. And then somebody will come and say, oh, but this. And so I'm not, I don't really geek out. My knowledge base does not translate to every single inner working of the firearm. But that's why the second thing that made me make this video was the 10-8 performance video. This gentleman, if you're somebody who really geeks out and you want to get into the fine details of firearms, he has a great channel to watch. I will put a link to his channel and to this video down below so you guys can click on it. Go check him out. Go support him. I think it's important when people are giving us good information. I think it's important that we support their channel. So I'm going to put that down below. Make sure you click. Make sure you subscribe. Let them know, you're from the 2A-N-LA family and you're checking out his channel. What I like about him is two things. Number one, he's a competitive shooter, so that's great. Even more important, he's a gunsmith with a lot of years of experience working on firearms. And three, he is very familiar with the staccato platform, and so and like people have been bombarding him, I'm sure, with wanting to know these comparisons. So in his video, what he kind of does is he takes the Prodigy 5-inch and he kind of works the gun from a gunsmithing perspective, and to try to get it up to that staccato level, and he kind of talks about that. So I'm going to play a few clips for you of that, and then we'll come back here and wrap everything up, okay?
Hey everybody, it's Hilton. We're back again in the 10A Performance Lab. Thank you so much for joining me. In previous videos, we went over the new Springfield Armory Prodigy 1911 DS. As a quick recap of the 5-inch gun, which will be the star of today's show, last visit out to the range, it passed the function firing, did all right on the extractor function check. It was a little bit erratic. The pattern was slightly open, but overall it passed. All the rounds made it out, and all the rounds made it in from the magazine, and locked the slide back during the function testing. During the regular firing, though, some other issues came up. We had some intermittent failures to chamber, some disconnector drag where the slide stuck to the disconnector on its return to battery, which of course was related to the intermittent failures to chamber. There were spring rate issues, very light recoil spring on there. Had a heavy and gritty trigger, which frankly was just unpleasant to shoot. I had some issues manipulating the slide stop based on it being kind of flush with the frame and grip contours. The safety kind of had a spongy, the downward float issues that I'm kind of picky on, and man, taking it apart was an event with its two-piece guide rod. After the test firing was complete, I hit the workbench and went to town on it. The first major correction, I finished reamed the chamber with a Manson reamer and polished all the relevant surfaces in the path of the feedway. I resprung the gun, put in a Chile Custom Gunworks short flat trigger. I put in also a 10-8 hammer, also got an EGW tool steel sear and ball head disconnector, got a titanium hammer strut in there, and put in a new Wolf leaf spring as well. And tuned the trigger to 4 pounds, 5.6 ounces. Keep in mind the parts that I just listed, the trigger work, those aren't drop-in parts like a Glock trigger or a box of Legos or something like that. It requires a level of attention and work on the gun. Some other miscellaneous parts in there, of course, got 10-8 slide stop, and then I've got one of my mag catches. It is one of the ones from the 2011 collection. But also, I've replaced that two-piece guide rod contraption with my reverse plug and spring guide. I also just tightened up the extractor, the factory extractor, just a little bit. A little polish on the hook there. Did a little bit of work. I was looking to improve the pattern of extraction and ejection. I also fixed the safety for the floating and fitted to the new sear, of course. And I think that rounds up all the stuff. It was quite a laundry list of stuff. All right, this question came up on my Patreon, so I thought I'd cover it here as far as with all the parts that I did add to this and the labor, how does this end up comparing? So I had to write this down and print it out. So here we go. Let's see.
All right, so we've got the Chile trigger, $70. EGW sear, $30. EGW disconnector, $24. A titanium hammer strut, $13. 10-8 hammer, $79.95. Slide stop, 10-8, $55.95. 10-8 mag catch, $44.95. 10-8 spring plug, $20.95. 10-8 spring guide, $16.99. Wolf recoil spring, 12 pound, which also comes with a free firing pin spring, extra power. That's $11. Wolf sear spring, $12. Wolf mainspring, $7.
I didn't add any pricing for the parts installation, safety tuning, the reliability work, the chamber reaming, the feedway, the disconnector track, polishing, all the handwork that I put in there. I did not total up any of those into the math. And so for parts only, no labor, comes out to $385.79 over the base price of the gun. Since I paid retail for the gun, $14.99, We add the parts on there, it comes out to $1884.79. All right, so a Staccato P optic ready is $23.99. I know you're stroking out with all the numbers. Sorry, hang in here. Got it up on the screen so you can see it. So it's a total of $514.21 difference, roughly. I'm pretty sure my labor costs more than $514 for the amount of work and time that I put into retuning and rebuilding this gun. So we're right in the ballpark for the cost of a Staccato P. Where does this leave us? Well, we've got a really well put together base gun. Still got a bunch of MIM parts and a cast grip safety and the drop and fit barrel. So we're not at an actual equivalence to a Staccato P.
Okay, fam, so we're back. So for everybody who wants to ask tangibly, like, why is the Staccato better? I hope you get a feel for that. He added a lot of parts that incrementally kind of get it up closer to what a Staccato is. And even by his own admission, this is just a part. Based on parts and the cost for the Prodigy, there's maybe a $500 difference between that Prodigy and the Staccato P. By his own admission, if you're not a gunsmith and you really don't have the expertise to do what he did, and he mentioned these are not just drop-in kind of parts, you have to have some technical skill and experience to be able to do what he did. He thought his labor would have far exceeded that $500 if he was doing that for a customer. And even then, you know, the barrel is still not the Staccato barrel, and there's a couple of components that still doesn't make it a Staccato P. So if you want to try to take that Prodigy to make it to be what a Staccato P is, you would have to pay more than it would cost you just to buy a Staccato P. So when people tell me Staccatos are too expensive, I hope you get a sense now or an understanding now of why they are. Why they cost what they cost. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So is the Prodigy a good gun? Yes. It is a good gun. It was an accurate gun. It was very reliable. I was shooting somebody else's gun, but I still put about 300 rounds or so through it. And I had no issues. So I liked the gun. I really, really liked the gun the same way I really, really like my Springfield Armory TRP. But make no mistake, this is not this. This is not this. And that Staccato, that Prodigy, that Springfield Prodigy is not a Staccato P. But I haven't seen any advertisement where Springfield is claiming that it is. I think that's other people who look at it and try to compare it to a Staccato P. I think really if we're comparing, it's much more along the lines of the Bull Armory 2011, double stack 1911. I think those are probably closer comparable models, and those two, maybe we should be talking about a battle between those two, and maybe we'll get to that in a future video. But that's all for this one. So until next time, fam, as always, take care of one another and peace.